Hello there. Just wanted to do a quick video on a recent development in my collection. I know it's been a little while since I've posted anything regarding radiation. In fact, it's been 7 months as of today since my last video. I apologize for that. My interests have been elsewhere, with radiation always being on the back burner. And a recent development in my collection made me want to make this video. And that recent development is this little object right here. Now, this is an aircraft switch from likely a World War II era plane. Uh, Now, the reason that this is so special is right here, this little tip at the end has radium in it. Now, most antiques that you are going to find that contain radium are household watches, clocks, other timepieces. Military radium, I mean, they made hundreds of thousands of military gauges and watches and compasses, but military stuff is relatively rare and it often is more radioactive than consumer grade stuff uh, because they used a higher amount of radium in the paint. Now, um, when it comes to radium, everybody likes to see the glow, and here we are. You can see it glows a bit of a green. It doesn't show up too well with all of the blue on the screen right now, but when I look closely at it under UV light, it fluoresces green, letting me know that this is probably zinc sulfide in there, and maybe some other additive, because it's not quite the stark green color that you usually get with zinc sulfide. I've seen a couple of reports of people saying that theirs light up white, so that's what makes me question whether or not this is zinc sulfide. Either way, it's got, is that CH or OH up at the top? I can't recall. It's got on, off. It's got a little thing down here that says made in the USA, patent number, etc. It's a relatively simple little thing, but it's a wonderful piece of history. And the reason I'm so attached to it is my grandfather was an aircraft mechanic in World War II, and he was specifically an electrician in his civilian life. So it's very likely that he would have dealt with this and other objects like it in the form of aircraft gauges on a regular basis. So I just genuinely really enjoy this. This was a gift from a coworker who found it in a smattering of old electronic parts in a box. He knew what it was right when he saw it, and he brought it in and he gave it to me. And I'd like to thank him for that because this is the first piece of radium that I've actually owned. I actually generally dislike collecting radium because of the contamination risk. So many clocks I've seen in antique stores, especially the older ones, are just absolutely shredded to powder. But this one I feel pretty safe with, considering the sturdiness of how well it was built. Like, even if I drop this, I doubt that there's any contamination risk. You'd have to really hammer on this little glass ball that contains the radium here. But with all that out of the way, just wanted to do a couple of demonstrations here. I have 3 detectors with me that I'm going to show. First, I have the Ludlum Model 3 with a 44-9 probe. I have a BetterGeiger S-1, and I have a Radiacode 102. I do have a BetterGeiger S-2L, which would be more ideal for measuring this source, but there's a bit of a strange problem with it. When the batteries are low, it reads 0 no matter what. So I don't have any additional AA batteries at the moment to put in there, so unfortunately we're going to have to use this, which it's a perfectly fine little device, but I would have liked to have used the S2L. Maybe I'll post another video on that in the future. So here we have this little aircraft switch, and there it is under UV again. You can see a bit of the green there. It's not focusing particularly well, but there we are. And you're not sure if I just pointed it out the first time. You can also see after I turn it off, it holds its shade for a short time like zinc sulfide does. But all of those alpha rays, that zinc sulfide is shredded to all living heck at this point, so it's not going to glow for any significant amount of time, and probably hasn't since long before I was born or even my parents were born. So, with all that out of the way, let's do a couple of demonstrations. First off, with my favorite meter of all time. Sorry, guys, but the Ludlum's the Ludlum. Here we have a 44-9 pancake probe. I'm going to take this and I'm going to put this directly on here. And you can see even 6 inches out, it's already beeping somewhat substantially. And it completely maxes out. Now there shouldn't be any alpha rays coming in here there shouldn't be any alpha rays coming in here on account of the glass. The radium is not exposed. It's contained within this little glass ball at the end. But that doesn't stop there from being a significant amount of gamma radiation coming off this radium. I have it set on times 10. So let's see what it goes to. Here I have it touching 40,000 counts per minute, roughly. That's pretty substantial. And just to give you an idea, inverse square law of how quickly it drops off. Even just 3 inches out. And 6 inches. A foot. And I'm just roughly estimating here. But barely detectable. So yeah. Since I only collect uranium glass predominantly, this is by far my hottest piece by a long shot, especially considering it's military radium. So now let's move on to the next one, BetterGeiger S-1. I love the simplicity of this device. There's really no special tricks it does. It just, you turned it on and it works. I really love that about it. And the sensor is right underneath that little trefoil. Or trefoil? Not sure how you pronounce that. I've only ever read it. And going to put it on here. Now, one unfortunate thing about the BetterGeiger is it does take a little while to compile the dose rate or final count rate for what is coming on here. I like the BetterGeiger quite a bit, but that is one drawback to the S1 model. I'm not sure if they've remedied that with the S2, but just holding it on here, you can see we're already up to almost 10 microsieverts. The adage I often hear is that a dental X-ray is about 5 microsieverts. So if you were to hold this item, according to the BetterGeiger, if you were to hold this item up to your face for an hour, you'd be getting the equivalent of 2 dental X-rays, according to the BetterGeiger. Now we'll turn that off, and we will go over to the Radiacode 102. This is probably my most used device, just because of the spectroscopy capabilities, the mapping, and the portability. I love my S2L as my main frisker when I'm looking for radioactive antiques. But when it comes to just portability and all the different capabilities this has, this is probably my most used one, despite my Ludlum being my most favorite one. And I'm not sure which is correct here, because there's, based on how I've already tested it earlier today, let me turn something on real quick. Based on something that I've already tested earlier today, the dose rate is going to be substantially different from the BetterGeiger. Last I checked, this was topping out at around 30 microsieverts, and just putting it on the little radiation symbol there. As you can see, we're topping around at about 20 to 30 microsieverts, which makes me wonder which one is more accurate. But either way, listen to that thing scream. I have maybe testing out some radium at antique stores, but otherwise I don't think I've ever heard this thing do quite that high, have that high pitched of a whistle before. And again, just because I love showing people inverse square law, just to give you an idea of how quickly the radiation drops off and how safe this thing is to have around. So that's touching it directly. 3 inches out, it's already down. A foot. It's already almost to background radiation. Yeah, pretty cool little thing. Turn that off. And I actually completely forgot about it. until just now. We got this, the CDV-700. Now, this was actually a gift from the exact same person who had this thing, so I guess it's poetic that we'll be using it in the same video. This is the CDV-700. It was the standard sort of civil defense item that was given out to emergency management agencies, universities, pretty much anybody who dealt with a potential Cold War disaster back then had one of these things. And this has a little check source on the side that ticks this off pretty well, but I've never actually taken this thing out and heard it tick off from radium before. So this particularly hot source, I wonder what it'll do. Maxed out completely. Let's go to times 10. Maxed out completely. Let's go to times 100. Very nice. Let's try that with the beta shield closed. Now this little thing offers an option. Beta radiation can be blocked through a thick enough piece of aluminum, and you can allow only gamma radiation in. So if you twist this, it's tough to do with one hand. If you twist this, you can see that. You can see that sort of, it's closing in. And now we have aluminum covering that. I believe that's aluminum. And we will test the total gamma radiation. We'll bring it back down to times 1. Now, radium is a pretty heavy gamma emitter, so I expect this to work somewhat well. Maxed out. Times 10. Yeah, it's got it going pretty good. Let's turn the CDV-700 off. So yeah, this little item is a wonderful little piece of history. I absolutely love it. And yeah, just wanted to share it with you. I haven't collected radium because I'm afraid of the contamination risk. You know, with uranium glass, there's virtually nothing bad that can happen outside of you actually eating the glass. But this might have started a radium habit, which is very both scary and thrilling because I love radium. So we'll see. Maybe I'll keep this as my sole source and I won't do anything with it. But who knows? Maybe I'll start collecting radium. And then in that case, I'll have to get a radon ventilation system and all that stuff. With this one single switch, I'll be fine when it comes to radon. But if I grow my collection into anything substantial, I'm going to have to change things up a little bit. I do love the way, because they do sell those old clocks with just zinc sulfide on them, absolutely no radium. And I do love the look of those things, so I might just pick one up for the heck of it to put it in my collection. But yeah, either way, wonderful little piece of history. Hope you enjoy this video, and yeah, bye-bye.